You might not realize it yet, but the moment a woman senses your fading interest, everything changes, not in words, not in gestures, but in the subtle shift of her instincts. She tests, she observes, she mirrors, and in that quiet, almost invisible space, her true nature begins to reveal itself. Most men never notice. They chase, they panic, they explain themselves. But you remain steady. You watch. You understand that her reactions are not about you. They are about her instincts, her hidden curiosities, the truth she cannot say aloud. That awareness alone is power. That clarity alone separates men who are forgotten from men who are remembered. If you've ever wondered why some women seem drawn to composure, why attention disappears the moment you give it freely, or why attraction feels like a code you can't crack, stay with me. In the next few minutes, you'll see what few men ever understand, and it will change the way you see women, desire, and even yourself. Before we dive deeper, if this resonates, take a moment to like, comment, or subscribe. Help this message reach other men seeking clarity and mastery over the unseen dynamics of attraction. Buckle up, because the full truth is about to unfold. The air is thick with quiet tension. You notice the subtlety before it is pronounced, the pause in her voice, the slight hesitation in her smile, the way her gaze lingers where it once wandered freely. Every movement, every glance, every unspoken cue becomes a narrative you read instinctively. Ordinary men would mistake these signals for indifference, for confusion, or for chaos. But you, who have learned to anchor yourself in calm, see the hidden currents, the unspoken calculations, the instinctual reevaluation, the invisible emotional map unfolding before your eyes. She is not conscious of it, not entirely. Her reactions are primal, woven into the fabric of instinct, shaped by a lifetime of observing value and gauging stability. When a man steps back, when he withdraws even slightly, the world shifts for her in ways she does not articulate. You sense it first not through words, but through micro-oscillations, the subtle rise and fall of interest, the hesitation in tone, the small, instinctive adjustments of posture and expression. It is in these moments, fleeting yet unmistakable, that the mask slips and the hidden truths emerge. You remain composed. You do not chase. You do not explain. In this stillness, you allow the narrative to play out naturally. Her curiosity stirs, her mind instinctively mapping your independence against her desire. She tests, not overtly, but quietly, almost imperceptibly. Perhaps a playful tease, a carefully chosen word, a glance held a fraction too long. Each act is a reflection, a mirror held up to your own presence, your own restraint, the gravity of your silence. And yet, even as her reactions flicker and shift, you do not react. Your power is quiet. It is rooted not in dominance, but in self-mastery, in the unwavering calm of a man who understands that attention cannot be coerced, curiosity cannot be commanded, and respect must be earned through composure, not desperation. This is the subtle art that separates men who are fleeting from men who are unforgettable. She feels it. Perhaps she does not name it. Perhaps she does not understand it. But instinctively, she notices. Something in the air changes. Her internal calculus begins to run. What value does he truly hold? How steady is he? Is he driven by desire or by indifference? By the time most men even realize the shift has occurred, you have already observed the first cracks, the tiny adjustments, the instinctive recalibrations that reveal far more than words ever could. You see it not as a test of control, but as a map of truth. Every subtle reaction she exhibits is a thread leading deeper into her psychology, a signal of what she feels when your attention is no longer freely given, when your energy is no longer available without restraint. This is where ordinary men panic and act. This is where you step back, breathe, and simply observe. The story she tells, the silent narrative of her instincts, her curiosity, her recalibration, unfolds naturally in response to your calm, disciplined presence. You are no longer participating in the predictable patterns of chase and reaction. You are watching a mirror of human behavior, an unspoken dialogue written in micro-expressions, tone, and posture. The ordinary world mistakes it for aloofness. You recognize it for what it is, truth revealed in stillness. And here lies the hidden principle. The moment of withdrawal, subtle and measured, does not create chaos, it exposes reality. Her hidden inclinations, the contours of attraction, the instinctive assessments of value, and stability, all of it becomes visible if you have the patience, the awareness, and the self-mastery to observe without interference. So you watch. You feel the tension without succumbing to it. You notice the flicker of curiosity, the shadow of hesitation, the subtle dance of instinct and attention. And as you do, a larger understanding begins to emerge. The world of attraction, the interplay of desire and composure, is always revealed in the quiet, in the subtle, in the space where men stop acting and simply exist as themselves. Stay with me, because the reaction she will reveal, subtle, instinctive, undeniable, will show you more about female psychology, your own presence, and the mechanics of attraction than any conversation, any gesture, or any conventional advice ever could. In the moments ahead, you will see the patterns unfold. You will feel the rhythm of instinct and curiosity. And in that observation, you will begin to understand a truth that changes everything. The shift begins quietly, not in her words, but in the space around them. When your presence grows still, when your energy no longer rushes forward to fill every silence, she enters a private world of instinctive evaluation. It is here, in this unseen interior, that her responses form. They are subtle, but not accidental. They emerge from the same ancient part of the mind that reacts to strength, steadiness, and emotional safety. As you move through your days with this quiet discipline, you start to recognize a deeper contrast. The difference between a man who is centered and a man who is searching. Most men, without realizing it, place their identity in the hands of whoever they desire. They project need before connection, anxiety before clarity. The moment they sense distance, they reach. They try harder, they over-explain. They negotiate for reassurance. But you are beginning to understand something different. The strength of a man is not in how loudly he asserts his value, but in how calmly he inhabits it. This shift inside you alters the entire dynamic. She notices it before she understands it. The consistency of your tone, the steadiness of your decisions, the unhurried nature of your responses, they create a psychological contrast she cannot ignore. Not because you are withholding anything, but because you are no longer driven by fear. For the first time, she is left with space to think, space to feel, space to sense the truth of what you are becoming. You carry yourself like a man who has stepped out of his emotions just enough to see them with clarity. You still care, but you don't cling. You still desire connection, but not at the expense of your mind. This balance, this internal alignment, is rare. It creates a quiet gravity around you, an invisible pull that is not loud, not performative, and not aggressive. It simply is. In this atmosphere of composed masculinity, her subconscious begins to shift. She becomes more attuned, more observant, more reflective. She starts paying attention to the way you hold yourself, to the way you choose your words, to the way you move through uncertainty with calm rather than pressure. She begins to notice something else. Your silence is not a threat, it is a mirror. A mirror that reflects the nature of the connection back to her. When a man is overwhelmed by fear, that fear spills into the relationship. When he is grounded, that groundedness stabilizes the space between them. Without any dramatic gestures, you create emotional structure, a sense of reliability that does not depend on constant closeness. This is where genuine attraction grows, not in intensity, but in resonance. Her instinct responds to that resonance. It draws her closer not because she is chasing, but because something about your presence feels safer, clearer, and more intentional than what she's used to. And here you begin to see a deeper truth about female psychology. When a woman feels a man slipping into insecurity, her guard rises. But when she feels a man settling deeper into himself, something in her softens. Not out of submission, but out of recognition. Recognition of steadiness. Recognition of maturity. Recognition of a man who is not governed by emotional chaos. You do not exploit this. You honor it, because emotional safety is not a tactic, it is a responsibility. This is where most men fail. They treat distance as a game, silence as a strategy, withdrawal as a performance. These behaviors create confusion, not connection. They damage trust rather than build it. But you are not withdrawing to provoke a reaction. You are stepping back to remain aligned, to protect your clarity, your peace, and your sense of self. And because your intentions are clean, her reactions become honest, not forced, not manipulated, not pulled from her by pressure or tension. They arise naturally from the space of reflection your composure creates. She begins to wonder about you, not anxiously, but curiously. What changed? What steadied you? What pulled your attention inward instead of outward? Curiosity, when born from emotional respect, deepens connection. It leads her to reevaluate not just you, but the relationship itself. She begins to examine her own behavior, her own attitude, her own presence within the bond. Not because she fears losing you, but because she senses the weight of the moment. She feels the shift in you, and it brings forth a shift in her. In this reevaluation, something powerful happens. She stops reacting to your interest. She begins responding to your character. Not the character you display, but the character you embody. The quiet discipline that guides your choices, the steadiness that anchors your emotions, the maturity that shapes your boundaries. You are not demanding anything from her. You are not questioning her loyalty. You are not pushing her to compensate for your insecurities. Instead, you show her, through behavior, not pressure, what it feels like to be with a man who knows himself. This awareness begins to change the way she speaks to you. Her tone shifts, her attention sharpens, her presence becomes more intentional. Not because she is afraid of losing you, but because the connection now rests on something deeper than interest. It rests on mutual respect. And as this new dynamic unfolds, you begin to feel a subtle transformation inside yourself. You are no longer driven by outcomes. You are no longer searching for validation. You are no longer trying to prove your worth through intensity or pursuit. You are simply aligned, living from a place of inner stability, responding from a place of clarity, moving from a place of emotional maturity. In this state, you begin to understand the deeper truth. When you stop trying to control how someone feels about you, you begin to control how you feel about yourself. And in that shift, the entire dynamic with her changes. Not because of tactics, not because of strategy, but because emotional steadiness, real, grounded steadiness, reshapes every connection it touches. But the real turning point arrives when you finally understand that her reaction to your fading interest was never about competition, or fear, or power. It was about reflection, the way your steadiness awakened a deeper truth in both of you. You see it clearly now. The moment you stopped orbiting her emotions, you stepped back into your own center. You returned to the rhythm of your own life. And in that return, something profound happened. Your presence became anchored, not scattered. This is the shift women feel on an instinctive level. Not the absence of affection, but the presence of a man who is no longer ruled by it. As this quiet transformation completes itself, the dynamic between you stabilizes into something more authentic. She no longer wonders whether your attention means you're dependent, and you no longer wonder whether her interest defines your worth. The space between you becomes clearer, cleaner, grounded in mutual awareness rather than emotional chasing. She begins to adjust to this new atmosphere. Her conversations become more intentional, not reactive. Her tone carries more sincerity, not defensiveness. Her presence feels less guarded, more open. This is the point most men never reach, not because women are complex, but because emotional steadiness takes courage. It requires a man to let go of the fear that connection will vanish if he stops gripping it. But you have grown beyond that fear. And because of that, she now responds to something deeper than your interest. She responds to your alignment. Not the performance of being unbothered, but the true internal discipline that keeps you grounded even when emotions rise, even when uncertainty enters, even when the connection shifts. This is where the final truth emerges, the truth hidden beneath her reactions, beneath her curiosity, beneath the subtle changes you've seen. When your interest fades for the right reasons, in the right way, from the right place inside yourself, women don't simply react, they recalibrate. They take a clearer look at you, at themselves, at the bond, at the balance between presence and independence. Your composure becomes a compass, a quiet signal that guides the relationship back to something healthy, intentional, and real. And whether she moves closer or steps away, the outcome no longer shakes you. Because the transformation happened in you first. You learned how to hold your center. You learned how to act from clarity, not fear. You learned how to remain steady without becoming distant, strong without becoming cold, open without becoming fragile. This is the essence of stoic masculinity. You respond to the world without letting the world rewrite who you are. And this is the essence of female psychology at its healthiest. A woman instinctively respects the man who respects himself. As the narrative of this moment comes full circle, you feel the echo of the opening truth. The moment she sensed your fading interest, something within her shifted. But the deeper shift, the real shift, happened in you. And that is the transformation that stays. Not a tactic, not a strategy, a way of being. So when you walk forward from here, do it with this clarity. You do not lose yourself for connection. You bring yourself to it. And the right woman will always feel the difference.